Without a way to increase information, natural selection will not work as a mechanism for evolution. Evolutionists would agree with this, but they believe that mutations somehow provide the new information for natural selection to act upon. However, mutations do not add information. All mutations that have been studied on the molecular level turn out to reduce the genetic information and not to increase it. The Neo-Darwinian theory, or NDT, is supposed to explain how information of life has been built upon by evolution. Basically, how the DNA has gained information over long periods of time. The essential biological difference between a human and a bacterium is in the information each contains in their DNA. All other biological differences follow from that DNA. The human genome has much more information than the bacterial genome. Information cannot be built upon by mutations that lose it. A business can't make money by losing a little at a time. Whoever thinks macroevolution can be made by mutations that lose information is like a merchant who lost a little money on every sale but thought he could make it up in increasing the volume of sales. In reality, the merchant continues to lose more and more money no matter what volume is sold. Not even one mutation has been observed that adds a little information to the genome. That surely shows that there are not the millions upon millions of potential mutations the NDT theory demands. There may not be any. The failure to observe even one mutation that adds information is more than just a failure to find support for the theory. It's actually evidence against the theory. Evolutionary scientists have no way around this conclusion that many scientists have come to. Mutations do not work as a mechanism for the evolutionary process. Imagine yourself sitting in the seat of a 747 airplane, reading about the construction of this great plane. You are fascinated by the fact that this flying machine is made up of 6 million parts. But then you realize that not one of these parts by itself can fly. That realization can be rather disconcerting if you're flying along at 500 miles an hour and 35,000 feet in the air. You can be comforted, however, by the fact that even though not one part of an airplane flies on its own, when it's assembled as a completed machine, it does fly. We can use the construction of an airplane as an analogy to understand the basic mechanisms of the biochemistry of cells that enable organisms to function. Scientists have found that within the cell there are thousands of what can be called biochemical machines. For example, the cell's ability to sense light and turn it into an electrical impulse. But what scientists once thought was a simple process within a cell, such as being able to sense light and turn it into an electrical impulse, is in fact a highly complicated event. For just this one example alone to work, numerous compounds must all be in the right place at the right time in the right concentration, or it just won't happen. In other words, just as all the parts of a 747 need to be assembled before it can fly, so all the parts of these biochemical machines in cells need to be in place or they can't function. And there are literally thousands of such machines in a cell that are vital for it to operate. Okay, what does all this mean? Quite simply, evolution from chemicals to a living system is impossible. To illustrate this further, consider swatting a mosquito. Why did the mosquito die? The squashed mosquito has all the chemicals for life that an evolutionist could ever hope for in some primordial soup. Yet we know that nothing is going to evolve from the squashed mosquito soup. So why did the mosquito die? Because by squashing it, you disorganized it. Once the machinery of the mosquito has been destroyed, the organism can no longer exist. At a cellular level, literally thousands of machines need to exist before life ever becomes possible. This means that evolution from chemicals is impossible. The more we look into the workings of life, the more complicated it becomes, and the more we see that life could not arise by itself. Not only does life require a source of information, but the complex machines of the chemistry of life must be in existence right from the start.